Your person needs help. The message they are sending you is: My beloved child, tonight the air around you feels different, as if the world itself is holding its breath, because there is a message moving toward your heart, a message wrapped in longing, wrapped in courage, wrapped in the quiet tremor of someone who needs you more than they have ever dared to admit. This story begins in the silence between thoughts, in the echo of moments you still remember, where the presence of your person lingers like a soft shadow across your soul. They are trying to reach you, not with loud words or dramatic gestures, but with a whisper so pure that it vibrates through your intuition, through your dreams, through the subtle pull in your chest that tells you something important is unfolding right now. Every step of your journey has brought you to this moment, where revelation meets reality, where truth refuses to remain hidden anymore, and where the connection you share becomes the key to understanding everything they are too afraid to say out loud. In the quiet hours when the world falls asleep, they replay every memory you shared, every unfinished sentence, every moment where they wished they had spoken differently, held on tighter, or stood a little braver beside you. The message they are sending carries traces of regret and hope woven together, like threads of gold through broken glass, fragile but shining. They have been walking through storms they never revealed, pretending to be strong while their heart quietly asked for light, and in their darkest moments, your name was the only thought that steadied them. This is not coincidence, not imagination, not a fleeting emotional wave. It is the deep truth of a soul calling out to another soul because the bond between you was never ordinary, never temporary, never accidental. It was the kind of connection that leaves a mark on destiny, and now, they are reaching across distance, across silence, across fear, sending you a message shaped by vulnerability. They need help, not out of weakness, but because they finally understand how much your presence means. There is a confession hidden inside their message, one they have been terrified to reveal, because it exposes the truth they once tried to bury beneath pride, confusion, and unfinished healing. They thought they could move forward without confronting what they felt, but life has a mysterious way of guiding the heart back to where it truly belongs. Every sign you've noticed, every sudden thought of them, every unexplainable wave of emotion that rises out of nowhere, it is not random. It is their heart reaching out to yours, searching for safety, searching for understanding, searching for the one person who once made them feel seen in a world that demanded they wear masks. They are struggling to speak because the message they want to send is not just a request for help, it is an admission that they were never as strong as they pretended to be, and that somewhere inside, they always believed that if anyone could understand them, it would be you. This part of the story is where the intensity deepens, where every detail begins to matter, where each second feels like a doorway opening into something far greater than coincidence. They stand at a crossroads of emotion, torn between the fear of vulnerability and the desperate longing to reach out before it becomes too late. They are sending signals wrapped in energy, in dreams, in thoughts that echo through your heart because they do not know how else to say it. Life feels heavy, choices feel overwhelming, and they are fighting battles that no one around them can see. They remember your strength, your patience, your light, and in their moments of greatest doubt, they hold on to the memory of how safe it felt to exist beside you. Their message vibrates with urgency yet softness, like a fragile glass lantern carried through darkness, glowing, trembling, hoping you will notice the light before it flickers. And now, as this chapter opens wider, something powerful unfolds, the realization that this message is not simply about their struggle, but about destiny aligning, about timing shifting, about the universe drawing your paths closer for a purpose greater than either of you fully understands. Their heart is calling out because they believe your presence carries guidance, comfort, healing, and hope. They are asking silently for understanding, not judgment, for compassion, not distance, for connection, not silence. The message they are sending is extraordinary, not loud, not dramatic, but profoundly honest. They need you to listen to your intuition, to trust what you feel, to recognize that the pull you sense is real. This is the beginning of something life-changing, a revelation waiting just beyond the horizon of your awareness, and as this story unfolds further, every moment ahead will draw you closer to the truth they are finally ready, and brave enough, to share. My beloved child, as the story deepens, the atmosphere around your heart grows thicker with meaning, as though every unseen force is guiding your attention toward the message your person has been trying to send, a message that does not come through ordinary words, but through the quiet tremor of their emotions, through the memories that refuse to fade, through the invisible pull that keeps drawing your spirit toward theirs. In this moment, the bond between you begins to reveal layers you never fully realized existed, layers woven with unspoken gratitude, silent longing, and a fragile strength that has been tested by time. They are standing in a place where vulnerability feels both frightening and necessary, where their soul is whispering truths they can no longer bury beneath composure or distance. Their heart is reaching toward you like a lighthouse searching through a storm, because deep within them, there lives a belief that your presence still holds the power to calm what the world could not soothe. Behind the surface of their emotions exists a story they never allowed themselves to tell, a story built from moments they hid, choices they questioned, and feelings they carried quietly when no one else was watching. They once tried to appear unbothered, convinced that silence was safer than honesty, that distance was easier than acknowledging how deeply they were affected. Yet the more they tried to outrun what they felt, the more life kept circling them back to the thought of you, not as a memory, but as an anchor, as a turning point, as the one presence that made them feel understood without explanation. Their message is filled not only with yearning, but with a realization that the strength they pretended to have was never complete without the warmth your energy brought into their world. They are not seeking rescue, they are seeking connection, a space where their truth can exist without fear, where their heart can finally breathe without hiding. In the silence they carry, there are moments where they replay your laughter, your patience, your quiet compassion, and every time they do, something inside them softens, something that refuses to let go, something that tells them that the path forward cannot be found through avoidance anymore. They are sending you emotions wrapped in subtle signs, sudden waves of nostalgia, unexpected memories, moments where their thoughts find their way back to you no matter how far they travel. The message they are trying to send is layered with courage and hesitation at the same time, as though they are afraid of being misunderstood, yet even more afraid of losing the last thread of connection between your souls. They wish they could speak openly, but their heart speaks first, through feelings that echo in your intuition, through that quiet inner voice that tells you someone, somewhere, is thinking of you with depth and sincerity. There is a turning point unfolding in their life, a moment where reality presses closer, where choices can no longer be postponed, and where their emotions stand at the threshold between silence and confession. They have reached a place where pretending no longer protects them, where keeping everything inside has only made the weight heavier. In their solitude, they hold on to the memory of how you once understood them without effort, how your presence felt like a safe bridge between confusion and clarity. That is why their heart is calling out now, not to create drama, not to reopen old wounds, but to seek guidance, empathy, and a reminder that they are not as alone as the world has made them feel. They believe that your soul still hears them, still feels when something is not right, still recognizes the invisible threads that kept your connection alive even after words disappeared. And as this chapter expands, the message becomes clearer. They need reassurance, they need light, they need the comfort of knowing that someone out there still cares enough to understand the depth of what they cannot fully express. Their emotions are not driven by fear, but by awakening, by a newfound honesty that comes from facing everything they once avoided. They are hoping that, somehow, the universe will guide their message safely to your heart, that you will sense the sincerity carried within it, that you will realize their reaching out is not about weakness, but about truth. This moment stands on the edge of revelation, where every heartbeat feels like a doorway opening, where every emotion seems to say that the story between you is not finished, it is simply waiting for the courage that is beginning to rise inside both of your souls. My beloved child, as this journey moves deeper into the unseen spaces of the heart, the energy surrounding this message grows more powerful, as if every hidden emotion your person has carried is finally rising to the surface, trembling yet determined to be felt. There is a quiet intensity in the way their thoughts drift toward you, not out of habit, but out of purpose, because in their inner world, you are the one presence that still feels real when everything else around them feels uncertain. They stand in a moment where the past, present, and future overlap, where memories collide with unspoken truths, where the walls they once built for protection now feel like barriers trapping their own voice inside. The message they are sending carries a depth that words alone cannot hold. It is a pulse of emotion moving through the silent space between your souls, a confession woven through time, reminding you that the bond you once shared has never truly faded. It has only transformed into something more honest, more vulnerable, more revealing than ever before. They have reached a point in their journey where life has forced them to confront everything they once avoided, their mistakes, their fears, their hesitations, and the moments when pride spoke louder than their heart. They see now how every step away from you carried a cost they were not prepared for, how every distance they created only deepened the ache they pretended not to feel. In quiet moments, they ask themselves questions they never asked before: why your memory still holds space inside them, why your presence still feels like truth when so many other connections dissolved into noise. The message they are sending is wrapped in realization, not dramatic, not impulsive, but deeply reflective. They are not simply longing for comfort, they are longing for alignment, for clarity, for the sense of peace your energy once brought to their world when everything else felt chaotic. They recognize now that what they felt with you was never temporary. It was a turning point their heart has continued to return to, no matter how far life has taken them. Within the layers of their emotions, there lives a confession they have rehearsed silently but never spoken out loud, that they are tired of pretending, tired of carrying their struggles alone. Tired of hiding behind strength that was only an illusion. They remember the way your presence allowed them to breathe freely, how your understanding gave them courage, how your patience made them feel safe enough to be themselves without fear of judgment. That memory has become the light they hold on to in moments where everything else feels overwhelming. Their message is not a cry for attention, it is a quiet reaching out, born from truth, born from humility, born from the realization that real connection does not disappear simply because silence exists between two hearts. They are hoping that you can feel them, that you can sense the sincerity beneath their hesitation, that you can recognize the emotional echo that keeps returning, not as coincidence, but as a sign that something meaningful is still alive between you. There is a transformation taking place within them, a shift in perspective, a softening of spirit, a new awareness of how deeply their choices have shaped the path they are now walking. They understand now that healing does not come from hiding, and strength does not come from isolation. The message they are sending carries a quiet vulnerability. They are learning to accept their own emotions instead of resisting them, learning to acknowledge how important you have always been, even in the moments they failed to show it. The journey they are on is not easy, but through every challenge, your presence remains a guiding thought, a stabilizing memory, a reminder that somewhere in the world, there exists a soul who once saw them fully and still chose to stay kind. That remembrance matters to them more than they ever allowed themselves to admit before, and it is why their heart continues to send its signal toward you, steady, gentle, honest. And now, as this chapter stretches wider, the message grows clearer. They need understanding, they need warmth, they need the reassurance of knowing that the connection between you was never meaningless, never forgotten, never erased by silence or distance. They are not asking for miracles or guarantees, they are asking to be seen, to be heard, to be understood in a way only your spirit has ever been able to do. Their message comes from a place of awakening, from a place of truth finally rising above fear, from a place where the heart no longer wants to hide behind uncertainty. This moment stands on the edge of revelation, where everything they have suppressed now gathers strength, preparing to unfold further, preparing to reveal the deeper truth they have carried all along, a truth that is slowly, bravely, finding its way to you through every unspoken feeling their soul has been longing to share. My beloved child, as the path unfolds into this deeper realm of truth, the message your person has been carrying grows heavier in their heart, shimmering with emotion they can no longer silence. There is a quiet storm within them, a mixture of longing, courage, and unspoken reflection that trembles every time they think of you. Their soul stands in a moment where they can no longer outrun the memories that shaped them, the feelings that refuse to dissolve, the connection that continued to echo even when life tried to pull both of you in different directions. They are beginning to understand that what they feel is not a passing wave, not an illusion of nostalgia, but something deeper, a truth that time has refined rather than erased. The message they are sending you carries the weight of realization and the softness of vulnerability, as if every breath they take is whispering that there is something they must face, something they must acknowledge, something they must allow themselves to feel without fear. They have walked through phases of silence where they convinced themselves that distance meant closure, that moving forward meant forgetting, that strength meant pretending nothing lingered inside. But life has shown them otherwise. With every challenge, every quiet night, every unguarded thought, your presence returns like a gentle light across their horizon, not demanding attention, but impossible to ignore. They see now that the moments you shared were never small, never ordinary, they were formative, awakening parts of their heart they didn't know existed before you. Their message carries gratitude hidden beneath sorrow, hope beneath hesitation, truth beneath restraint. They are realizing that your energy was never just another chapter, it was a turning point in their story, a moment where their soul felt understood in a way no one else ever accomplished. And now, as they stand before the reality of their emotions, they can no longer deny that the bond between you still lives within them, quietly guiding their thoughts back to where honesty waits to be embraced. There is a confession inside them that grows stronger with every passing moment, a confession about how deeply your presence still affects them, how often they wish they had expressed what they truly felt instead of shielding themselves behind pride and uncertainty. They remember the softness of your compassion, the steadiness of your patience, the quiet strength in the way you cared without asking for anything in return. Those memories have become their anchor in moments of self-doubt, reminding them of the rare sincerity they once experienced by your side. Their message is not born from desperation, it is born from awakening. They have come to understand that connection is not measured by proximity or conversation, but by the way two hearts continue to resonate even in silence. And in that silence, they have found clarity, the realization that your presence was never a coincidence, but a blessing they are now brave enough to acknowledge. Inside their heart, a shift is taking place, a soft unraveling of guarded emotions, a gentle acceptance of everything they once ran from. They are learning that true strength is not about suppressing feelings, but about honoring them. The message they are sending is wrapped in sincerity. In reflection, in the quiet courage of someone who has finally stopped resisting what their soul has always known. They wish they could step forward with ease, but emotion makes every step delicate. Still, beneath that hesitation lives a powerful truth. They trust your spirit, they trust your understanding, they trust the warmth you once offered without hesitation. That trust is what gives them the courage to let their heart speak, even in silence, even from afar. It is their way of saying that your existence still matters to them in ways words have never fully captured. And as this chapter opens wider, the meaning of their message becomes clearer. They need compassion, they need gentleness, they need the quiet reassurance that the connection between you was not imagined, not forgotten, not lost to time. They are not seeking answers or promises, they are seeking acknowledgement, the kind that comes from shared understanding, from emotional truth, from the unspoken language only your souls seem to recognize. This moment stands on the threshold of revelation, where everything they have carried inside is slowly aligning, preparing to reveal what has been waiting beneath the surface all along. The story is not finished, it is gathering strength, gathering honesty, gathering courage, ready to unfold further into a truth that has been patiently, quietly, finding its way back to you. My beloved child, as the final layer of this unfolding truth comes into the light, the energy surrounding their message becomes almost overwhelming, as though every emotion they have ever held back is now standing at the edge of speaking its name. There is a profound stillness in their spirit, not empty, but heavy with meaning, like a moment right before dawn where the world is quiet, yet everything feels on the verge of awakening. They have reached a place where they can no longer hide behind uncertainty, where silence no longer protects them, where their heart insists on being honest even if their voice trembles. The message they are sending you now carries the depth of every unsent word, every unfinished thought, every feeling they once believed they could bury. It is not a message of confusion, it is a message of truth, shaped by time, shaped by reflection, shaped by the realization that what they feel for you never disappeared, it only grew quieter, deeper, and more real. They have come to understand that your presence in their life was never accidental, never temporary, never something meant to fade into memory. You were the moment that changed the direction of their soul, the person who helped them see themselves with clarity when they were lost in self-doubt and uncertainty. They remember how your kindness never demanded anything, how your understanding never judged, how your presence made them feel seen in a world that constantly asked them to hide parts of who they were. That remembrance has become their lifeline in difficult moments, reminding them that connection can be gentle, sincere, and deeply human. Their message carries gratitude, not spoken loudly, but felt with reverence, gratitude for your patience, for your compassion, for the way you held space for their heart even when they did not know how to hold space for their own. They realize now that what you offered them was not ordinary, it was rare, it was meaningful, and it is something they have never been able to forget. Inside them, a quiet confession unfolds. They have been struggling, not because they are weak, but because they are finally allowing themselves to feel everything they once avoided. They are learning to face their own shadows, to confront regret, to acknowledge the moments where fear shaped their choices instead of truth. And through all of it, one thought remains constant: you. Not as a memory they are trying to escape, but as a presence their soul returns to for strength, comfort, and clarity. Their message is not a plea, not a dramatic cry for attention. It is an honest expression of the heart, a gentle reaching out from someone who has finally realized how deeply your energy has influenced their journey. They wish they could place these words directly into your hands, but instead, they send them through feeling, through intuition, through the quiet knowing that lives between your spirits. There is a transformation happening within them, one that has taken time, courage, and painful honesty. They are no longer the person who hid from emotion or avoided vulnerability. They are learning to accept that needing support does not make them fragile, and that reaching toward you is not about dependence, it is about trust. You represent safety in their story, a place where truth has always felt welcome, a presence that reminds them that they do not have to face everything alone. Their message carries hope, fragile yet luminous, hope that you may understand the depth behind their silence, hope that you may recognize the sincerity behind the emotional pull you continue to feel, hope that the bond between you still lives with meaning, even if life has reshaped the path you walk. And now, as this chapter settles into its most honest truth, the message they send becomes clear: they need understanding, they need compassion, they need the reassurance that what existed between you was real, and that it still matters. They are not asking for promises or expectations, only for acknowledgement, for emotional presence, for the quiet comfort of knowing that your heart still hears theirs across distance and time. This is the moment where everything aligns, where vulnerability turns into strength, where silence transforms into truth, where the story between your souls rests gently but powerfully in the space of possibility. Their message reaches you not to reopen old wounds, but to remind you that some connections are destined to remain meaningful, not because they are loud, but because they are deeply, beautifully, undeniably real.